Thank you. Next question goes to Chet from Sports Key to Esports. With Champions being the first international tournament in North America, do you think that adds extra pressure on teams from the region to perform?
I think if anything, gives us like a like a bit of a bonus because we have more people cheering for us, which in the events like Copenhagen and Turkey last year, we didn't get that advantage. I think that went more for the EU teams. So I think we'll get a lot more support and just more hype for like each individual kill that we get. And for our players, I think, especially for our younger players like Sam, it'll
Mi
feed like really
pregunta
well
es ¿por
into
qué no
Fanatic.
está Antonella en esta llamada?
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Next question goes to Chet from Reddit user Dragon Incognito. NRG was one of the first teams to utilize Harbor on Bind. What made you decide to take a bold approach to the map, and do you think other teams will adapt to your playstyle?
We just decided to use Harbor because we just thought it was really good with the Viper meta that was already created by Loud, and just wanted to expand on it more. We also scrimmed against certain America teams that showed us the comp beforehand, so we just wanted to try it ourselves and put our own spin on it. And I think just getting the plant down for A specifically was like already very difficult, so we just decided to roll with that with Sage and seemed to be working like pretty good up until like we played Fnatic, which I don't think it came down to a comp, but just more like our individual like like skill versus them and their skill that just outmatched us that game.
Thank you. Next question goes to Chet from Jake at Lost Tribe Games. How do you feel about the new Agent Deadlock? Do you think she'll see any play during champs, or is she not quite ready for the international stage?
I think personally you'll probably see it from maybe a few teams, but I think overall she, along with like Gecko, very niche character and kind of have to play around it a lot. And I don't know if the benefit will outweigh like other comps that exist right now. So I probably wouldn't see it that much during this tournament. Maybe if they give her some new buffs here and there, or extend the range on the trip, or slight adjustments on it so it matches other Sentinels, could be more viable.
Thank you. And the final.
Hi, this question's for Chet. I was just wondering, how hard was it to find quality teams for practice leading up to this event? Like, how deep down the list of teams in North America did you guys have to go?
Well, there's only like 4 franchise teams total, including us. So we just scrimmed all the franchise teams, and we scrimmed the like Oxygen, who is still playing, and like some Pug teams. But yeah, the quality is pretty bad. I mean, there's nothing really could be done since most team seasons are finished anyways. So, I mean, we just made do with what we could, and we just did more theory than actually playing up until the teams came to champions.
Everyone we screen the quality being pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah, bad quality.
Yeah.
All right. Hello. First off, nice to meet all of you guys in champs. Good for you guys to make it this far. One of the most interesting things about international events is that there's a convergence of various storylines following each team that then comes together to basically decide essentially which among them is the best. And this question goes out to all 4 of you. There's I'm curious as to know what has been one of the biggest issues that you have experienced as a team, because following up to this point, each team has had their own string of results. Navi not doing well in Tokyo, same as Liquid, and then NRG reaching top 4, and then wanting to reach the top, first place, stuff like that, and then EDG wanting to one up that their performance in Tokyo. So once again, what has been the biggest issue that you have experienced with the team in preparation for champions? And once again, this goes for all 4 of you.
I guess I'll start. For my team personally, I kind of been encouraging my players to like come up with or at least have the tools with their ultimates, which I felt like we were lacking a lot in Tokyo, of how to use them and like ways they can use them and have a lot of variety. Because I feel like we're one of the few teams right now that can close with like 3 or 4 ults in a round right at the moment. And that's like the one thing I focus on a lot, is to make sure there's set plays and even like things on the fly that they can know to do with their ults, so we can actually win those rounds. Because a lot of times we would pop like Killjoy ult, Harbor ult, stuff like that, and we just are unable to close, or we just mess up something small. So that's been like a huge thing that I think will help us like close out these games that we like end up losing in OT.
Hi, I'm Brian from Nerd Street. My first question is for Chet. You guys have Fanatic in your group, so I wanted to know, how do you feel about, facing them potentially in your group, and what do you think might be the key to beating them?
Well, I think in our game versus Fnatic, we learned a lot that obviously they're really good individually, and if our fundamentals aren't on point, like especially in that bind game, all of our fundamentals were really, really bad. Like we were missing flashes or like timing them wrong or putting our utility up at the wrong times. Like that stuff, those kind of players can capitalize like really well. So we've been really putting a big emphasis on making sure those things are correct. And like I said, our old plays were really poor in that event. So we refined like a lot of those so we can actually win rounds on defense and attack that we normally couldn't otherwise. And you have to be on point versus Fnatic. You can't like underestimate them or treat them any differently. You just have to like be on point and do your things correctly. Otherwise, Chronicle is going to get like 4K and just win the round.